Hello, everybody, and welcome to It's a Swirl World. I am Piper.
I'm Dee.
And I'm Danny.
And you notice you cannot see me. I'm having technical difficulties, but I'm back. And today we are going to be talking about preferences or fetishes as far as BWWM goes. And just to start things off, just let everybody know we are grounded in love and all that good stuff. However, we do speak our minds and say what's on our minds, so know that this is a safe place to express your opinion, but we do reserve the right to edit it if you are ignorant. Anyway, let's get it going.
To do that really easy too.
Well, first we want to shout out everyone who is with us right now. So we want to say hey to Crazy in Love, to Mike from Oz, Maji, Ruby Rouge 988, who says, I'm so excited to hear from Piper. Finally, I'll be able to watch the show live, and we are super stoked that Piper has made it. Even though we can't see her beautiful face, we can hear her wonderful voice, and that is better than nothing. Thank you guys again for all of your prayers and concerns for Piper. We really appreciate it.
Yes, so much. I really appreciate it. It's been a long road, and I'm still recovering, but I really appreciate everybody's love and support. It's definitely mattered and made a difference to me. And I received some emails and stuff, and I really appreciate it.
Crazy in Love says, Piper! Oh, this is going to be a good show. Mike from Oz says, Piper! Oh my God, so glad to hear it. Woohoo! Maji, yay, Piper! So people are super, super stoked to have you back, Piper.
Yeah, I feel like I should have like a theme music, like I should have came in, like bigger. Like some like Eminem or something. I should have had it like queued up and ready to go. That would have been awesome.
What's that Aloe Black song? I'm the Man.
What?
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
What song? I'm the Man. Yeah.
I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man.
I love the song.
Now
I hear that song all the time when I walk into the grocery store, and I'm like, yeah, my theme music just started.
Oh, see, I would do Eminem. Get that beginning of that song. Guess who's back again?
Nice.
All right, guys.
So yeah.
Danny, you want to take it?
Yeah, so we want to first tell you guys why we're talking about this subject, besides it being a good subject to talk about. We get a lot of comments. We actually get a lot of emails, a lot of tweets, a lot of comments. Well, not comments on Facebook, but because Facebook is lame for some reason. But we get a lot of questions.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, wait. Before we start, I want to say, let's talk about our social media. So,
okay.
Facebook is lame. We have no idea why.
Twitter sucks.
It does.
Right.
And our Twitter is like that. We have the most followers.
Yeah.
Of our outlets. No, I'm sorry. No.
Tumblr.
Twitter is second to Tumblr. Tumblr is always like blown up. Twitter is second in line. I think we're close to 600 followers on Twitter. And for those of you who are watching, and we know this is not our immediate audience, but this tends to be the younger audience who is like constantly tagging us. Constantly like tagging us or mentioning us, in photos for like, I don't know, what is it, White Boy Wednesday and Black Girl Sunday and Yoo-Hoo Monday. All that. Like, we don't do that. And I'm just like, people are always like tagging us, and I'm like, why are you doing this? And then some of the pictures are completely inappropriate. Like, these younger, you see them, and it's just like,
they're bad.
We're geared more towards the 30-something-ish, not people who were born the year that I graduated high school. And we're not excluding anyone. We do love all of our We love all of our subscribers, all of our followers, but I think Twitter has just kind of taken on a life of its own with the with the younger folks, and it's just hilarious because I'm like, we're reading these, and I'm like, they're always tagging us in like every day of the week something, and I'm like, we never respond because
it's always inappropriate stuff. It's like some of the most inappropriate things. I'm like, nice.
Right. And I was like, we don't do the black girl, mixed girl, Tuesdays, Sundays, whatever it is. So, yeah. But Facebook is lame.
Facebook, we have 299 followers. We're not even at 300 yet.
We've been really stagnant on Facebook, unfortunately. It's just been kind of slow moving on Facebook. But people are out there. Facebook's just not the medium.
Right.
Yeah. So, we received... Now that we're done with our little social media rant, we do get comments on Facebook and on Twitter and on Tumblr and also here on YouTube with people, especially sometimes younger people, but also we've been getting from older people lately too.
Yeah.
Like we got an email from pushing senior citizen age like recently. Which is cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I'm out of the loop. I feel like I'm out of the loop, guys. It's just been so rough. I'm out.
As you're talking, there's a loop around you, though. So,
we've gone from teeny boppers to almost kind of senior citizens, which for us is a compliment, only because it allows us to, because it to me it signifies that we are reaching a broad spectrum as far as the audience.
Multi-generation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm not a senior citizen yet, but I totally agree. I mean, I'll be there one day.
Like it.
Yeah, right? I know.
But what's cool is I was actually able to hook up one of our viewers with. I don't know if she actually ever went through with it, but she asked, like, are there any mixers to meet up with white gentlemen in Los Angeles? And so I found a meetup and everything and sent her the information and all that. So it was really cool.
There's like a white guys love black chicks meetup in Los Angeles? I didn't know about that. I need to go to LA.
Apparently. And from what I hear, like it sounds like there's like I don't know if I should say this, but it sounds like the white guys don't show up.
Oh no.
So it's perfect opportunity for any
white
men.
Well, it's clear that they don't have fetishes.
In LA.
I don't.
Yeah, seriously, right? But no, Crystalline actually, or Crystalline, how do you say her name?
I think it's Crystalline.
I think it's Crystalline.
Okay. She tweeted from one of these events, like, all you women in LA that complain about not meeting white men, this is a perfect opportunity, and you guys don't show up. So, apparently, I don't know. I don't go to those things. I don't need to. So.
Guess what? Before we get started, I actually have a weird thing happen to me. I got recognized in the hospital while I was hospitalized. Somebody was like, this like nurse. She wasn't a registered nurse, but she was like nurse helper, and she's like, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, I don't think you do. And she's like, yeah, I do. And she's like, YouTube. And
she
I was
starts
like,
passing around your videos to everybody.
That's pretty neat.
No, yeah, she noticed me for It's a Swirl World.
That's pretty.
And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This is weird, because like I'm in a very naked sort of state right now, and we're talking about It's a Swirl World. Oh, whatever, Glad to meet a fan with my ass hanging out. So
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really weird, but it was like my first little thing where somebody noticed me for It's a Swirl World, and it was shocking. I was like, okay, this is weird, but kind of cool. So I thought I'd mention it, just in case she happened to be watching.
Just happened.
Hi, person in the hospital.
Just happens to be Candace. She didn't tell us that she works all the way in Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Hospital in Phoenix.
Yes, I was in the hospital in Phoenix.
She lives in Michigan. She goes to hospital. She works at a hospital in Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's why she can never make it on Tuesday nights anymore. So, yeah. Anyways, bunny trails. So we get these comments, how can you tell? And there's serious comments that we get because people a lot of the time are concerned. They don't want to be, they don't want to be somebody on somebody's hit it list. They don't want to be dating a guy and find out that the only reason that guy is dating them is because they want to screw a black girl before they die or whatever.
Well, that's their bucket list. They're a bucket list type of situation,
So a bucket list versus a fetish, and Piper, I think that's a great way to put it because that's curiosity. You got like these different levels, I think, and
right,
you got your curiosity, you've got your bucket list, and then you've got your fetish.
Yeah.
Well, and then you got your preference.
Yeah, then your preferences.
Right. But I think we should start off by defining it.
Yeah.
What a fetish is.
I'm looking up our Facebook because we actually had a really funny comment that I wanted to. I don't know if I should mention who said it, but
no need for names. A sexual, I think a fetish is defined as a form of sexual. What's that?
Go ahead.
I'll read the definition. The official definition is a form of sexual desire in which gratification is linked to an abnormal degree to a particular object, an item of clothing, a body part, etc. So it's like a sexual attraction to an object or a situation.
Perfect example. Did you see that movie, the R.I.P., where the guy was like, Ryan Reynolds is like a dead guy, or he dies?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I was going to.
Like a police officer. Well, the funny thing is that the guy he's partnered with has a fetish for ankles because in his day and age, women didn't show that much flesh. So he looks at women's ankles and he's like, "Wow, that's some nice ankles." Yes, and that's a fetish. That's what a fetish is.
That's like a foot fetish, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's an object, not necessarily a person.
Right. And so when we say people, because it can go both ways, a black woman, black girl can have fetishes, or not fetishes, but she can have a bucket list. She can have this, idea of, I want to be with a white guy because I heard they have big things, or I heard they have.
Let me throw this in there. I think with correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, and this could be really sexist of me to say. But I think black women have one more category than white men would have in this circumstance. Is that a lot of the time you hear black women say, "Oh, I want my kids to have that good hair," or "I want my kids to have light eyes or light skinned."
Who still says that?
Who says that?
I've heard that. I've heard that. I'm not saying you guys say that. I'm just saying, like, this is another category in it.
I guess. I mean, I haven't heard that in, a hot minute. It's probably been a long time. It's been a while since I heard anything like that. And I know I haven't heard the thing because I know there are some women who have asked me before, "Hey, so you date white guys? So is it true that they're all small?"
Right.
And those are kind of like, stereotypes working against, the white man, I guess, but they ask those questions, and that's definitely, kind of a fetish, really, because it falls under the same category, because people are judging a whole race on a stereotype and either choosing to date them or not date them because of that stereotype.
Right.
So, and I've got that one a lot. You would not believe how many people are like, "So is it small?"
But is it a fetish? Is it a fetish, or does it become a fetish, or is there another word that's not quite a fetish, since fetish relates to objects, but is there a level that's not quite obsession? Well, maybe it is obsession. When the person wants to date or screw, whatever, a person based on, these broad stereotypes, and they're not seeing the person as an individual. That's not a preference. It's not a fetish. What is it? What would you, define that as?
They want to date, they've never done it, and they want to try? They want to try dating interracially? Or
I think that's still a level of curiosity.
That's curiosity, yeah.
Uh-oh.
don't know. I would say it's kind of like an infatuation with it. They're infatuated with the idea of, these certain
Right.
things, that these certain stereotypes. They're very, they're not quite obsessed, but just infatuated with the idea that these things are really true, or, because there's all those things out there. There are white guys who think, oh, they want to be with the black girl. It's on their bucket list because they heard that black girls were adventurous in the sack. They'll do anything. They're down for anything. So they think that, and they are just determined to believe that must be how it is. That, every single black girl in the bed is just a tomcat. And they get infatuated with the idea. They get just kind of locked onto that idea, and they throw it on anybody they find.
Right. I think Ruby Rouge, she just said in the comments, she said objectification ? And I think
That's
that might
Yeah, that's a good one.
that might be it. That's that next level.
That's a great word for it. Mike Fermat says, I don't think that's really a word. We've been saying it, and I think we've been using it incorrectly. The fetishization or whatever. I don't really think
fetishization is not a word. It's our word.
Yeah, I don't think it's a word either. Because it's too hard to say, so that's why I don't think it's a word.
Yeah, it's a Swirl World dictionary, and in the dictionary for the Swirl World is fetishization. It's right in there. Right in there.
So he says, would fetishization of a black woman be a specific attribute or look, and how do you check for it? That's a good question, and we were going to talk about that too, because, I guess it's kind of like, what is it that you find attractive about this person? If you're saying, is it because, it's the chocolate skin, I'm really turned on by the contrast of the skin. Would that be, a fetish or objectification? And if so, how is it any different than someone who's dating a redhead? Someone who is really just into dating redheads, or just really into dating, girls who have the bodies of a 12-year-old boy.
I think that that one's more of a preference more than a fetish, because there is a contrast. That's just, that's neither here nor there. There is a contrast. If you're choosing to date somebody who is, a black woman, you're going to get a woman who has darker skin than you, and that could be something like guys who say they like blondes, or they only date redheads, or they only date brunettes, or short girls,
but then does
tall
that become
girls.
a fetish?
It becomes a fetish only when, in my opinion, when people start it with, I like black women because they all ... And that's a fetish, because they have a stereotype, they have a preconceived notion, and you can't break out of that no matter what. The moment they see you, they throw that label on you. They look at you and think, oh, she's a ride or die. I've heard that by a million guys, and even in videos and some blogs, and even on like dating websites, I've seen white men say, oh, black women are ride or die. I love black women because they're ride or die. But they'll stand by their man for anything. That is a fetish, because...
So that comes into like where stereotypes lead into fetishes.
Exactly, because they think that. They would be totally shocked if they had a black woman that was like, ooh, sorry, lost your job, I'm out.
Yeah.
So is any cross-race attraction a fetish?
No.
So, if the Asian man is into the white woman, or the white woman is into the Latino man.
Well, no, in that sense, if it's looking for those aspects, those physical aspects, or those stereotypical aspects, then I think it would. But I don't know that just because a white man's interested in a black woman doesn't make it a fetish.
Yeah, it depends on their reasons for the attraction.
So when does
But see, even as we're talking, as I'm thinking about this, sorry to interrupt you, Dee. As I'm thinking about this, like one of the things that the women that I date that I'm attracted to are very strong, independent women. And people would say that, well, then that's a fetish towards, black women, because black women tend to be independent and strong a lot of the time, right?
But that's a stereotype, because that may not
that's
be
where it
true.
becomes a
There are
stereotype.
Yeah, because there are weak-willed black women who are not very strong and who are not the type of women who are, self-sufficient, and they do rely on a man or anyone else to take care of them, and they are by no means independent.
V. Stigliani, or whatever her name is.
Well, if you want to go to the comments, so
Well,
Tiffany
crazy.
Marie, girl. She says,
Yeah.
It's a fetish when they're overly focused on my black ass skin.
That's great.
That's a good one. That's a great one. Oh, Piper.
Sorry, guys. No, I agree, because there are people who get, hung up on this skin, and then there's a little bit of fetish there, because they're really just looking at it, caressing it. And I've actually dated a guy before who was, always rubbing my skin, and I'm like, dude, what is up with you? I feel like a poodle. Why are you always petting me? It was weird. And he was just obsessed with it, and it sort of made it a fetish, because I felt like it didn't matter who I was, he just liked the skin color, and he didn't care what was underneath it.
Right.
The comments are going crazy.
What's that?
The comments are going crazy right now.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of us.
Mike from Oz says, yeah, exactly. As soon as it becomes about the attribute objectification, then it moves into the realm of fetishism. I can't say that word, you guys. Don't judge me. Crazy says, I believe the idea of sexual fetishism as it pertains to interracial dating, especially black people, stems from our history in this country.
True.
The enslavement, the raping and pillaging of our people has left some wary of that kind of attention. It is a very complex and confounding idea. Ruby Rouge 988 says the way fetish and stereotypes are different in that a fetish is a sexual fixation. Yes, I think Piper's got it. But then it's okay, the stereotypes, we're talking about, I guess, different levels and how it builds up to a fetish, how it becomes a fetish. Well, when does it become a fetish? When does it leave curiosity? When does it leave preference? And when does it become, a fetish or objectification? Since fetishes are geared towards, inanimate objects.
Right.
It's when people stop caring about what's underneath. If you're genuinely curious, let's say you're a white man and you're genuinely curious, you've never been with a black woman before, you're curious about the culture, and you just so happen to meet a black woman, and you get to talking to her, you learn about her culture, you learn about who she is as a person, and that attracts you, then that is the genuine curiosity and even being attracted for the differences, which is fine. But if you meet a black woman and you are just with her because of the fact that she's black, and that's all, and you don't care what's underneath, and when they don't care to kind of dig any deeper, and they just are interested in the idea of being with a black woman, whatever that may be, whatever thing or whatever idea they've, locked onto, then that's a fetish. Because they're not looking any deeper than skin color. They're just trying to be with anybody black. They'll just be with anyone.
Right. Can I read a couple of quotes from some blogs that we were reading beforehand, kind of preparing for this? Because I think it goes kind of along with what we're saying. And we'll post the blogs down below so you guys can read up on them too if you want to later. But this one's from interracial dating. When does a preference become a fetish? And it says, just because someone finds another person who looks nothing like them attractive, perhaps it's in part because they look completely different from them, doesn't mean it's a fetish. It's a fetish when one becomes obsessed with a certain look, race, ethnicity, nationality, and describes all manners of broad stereotypes to them. Ignore the fact that the person's an individual and not a stereotype. And this other quote from Keep Quiet About Your Racial Fetish, it says, if you love redheads, more power to you. I don't need to know that all blondes are boring and slutty in order for you to convince me that redheads are right. The redheads are hot. That right there is ignorant and not the way of a gentleman. So it's like basically saying, like, sometimes like you can justify, well, and I've heard this too before from some guys who've dated black women is, well, white women are just boring. Well, you don't have to like tear down another person to push up your fetish.
Yeah, to like someone else, you don't have to tear down another person.
Right. And then Yahoo Answers, it's funny. Yahoo Answers, you get some crazy stuff on there. But somebody said a preference usually is a natural attraction to speak, whereas a fetish is something you desire of sexual nature, which is the sole focal point for you to gain from. So like it gets into a difference between a sexual attraction and like what's beyond just a sexual attraction. Because if it was all based on sexual attraction, then this world would look a lot different. But like you don't choose to be with somebody solely based on sexual attraction. There's more that comes into play, and I think like when you base it on sexual attraction, that's where you cross the line from preference into fetish.
Yeah. Though sexual attraction does help.
No, it's important, and it's an aspect. To date
somebody. You might want to be sexually attracted to who you're dating.
Right.
It just works out better. It definitely works out better. I've discovered.
Another one of these quotes, it says, a human being is not an object, a human being is not an item, and a human being has feelings, thoughts, emotion. And a human being is a living creature with the ability to say yes or no. If you're making, let's say, Asian women or black women into a fetish, you're dehumanizing them. You're looking at them for their race, not as a human being.
Word.
So,
by no means do we want people, we think that a lot of people are confusing sexual attraction or preference for a fetish.
Right.
And that's why we're trying to break down the different levels and when does it, hop out of one realm into the next, and when does it become a fetish? Like, you could have a fetish, you just want to have sex in the office on a copy machine. That's
a good one. I have that fetish. Sign me up. I have that fetish.
Right.
I don't know if you guys can see what's sitting right next to me right now, but...
Oh, look in there. That gets my motor going. There's my fetish kicking in.
I don't know if I have any that I can think of offhand. I don't think I have any.
Kitchen counters. That's a fetish for me.
Kitchen counters.
Kitchen counters.
And see, you guys, we are trying to differentiate that for those who will be, watching. Not so much because you guys have got it, so everybody who's on now, but for those who are watching later and really looking, to this for information and how to tell the difference. You fetishize things, objects, scenarios.
Yeah.
Right.
People, you have a preference for people. You have, an attraction to people. And if you run into a guy or a girl who, just like Crazy in Love said, they reduce you to just that, whatever it is that they can see, then you better run the other way.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
so
very true.
Let's talk about what about those who are curious and they just have a curiosity and they don't mean any harm. It's not, at this fetish level or what have you, but it's just somebody who's curious. Hey, damn, I'm starting and opening my eyes a little bit. I'm noticing, white chocolate over there. I'm noticing vanilla or, vanilla or white chocolate. I'm noticing the milk chocolate. What's going on? I'm curious. What's up?
Right.
What about those people who are curious and want to break into that, but they don't want to feel like they are offending the other person?
Right, because one of my qualifications, honestly, when I'm dating somebody, one of my first things I'm trying to get the information from them is, who have you dated in the past? Am I the first white guy that you've ever been on a date with? Because if that is the situation, we're probably not going on a second date, because I'm worried of that exact same thing, that I'm just going to be some guy you're trying out.
See,
well, I personally think that it comes down to being honest, because just because somebody hasn't dated outside of their race before, everybody has to start somewhere, obviously. And yes, there may be that initial sort of physical attraction. You might open your eyes and, think, oh, maybe this guy's, I'm starting to look at white guys, or I'm starting to look at Mexican guys. And that's fine. But if you're honest with the person you're with and be upfront with it, I think it works out a lot better than trying to be something you're not. And that's when it becomes a little bit, it's that gray area, is when like a guy will date. I know I personally, guys have dated me and I'm like the first black girl they've ever dated, and you can tell, even though they haven't said it, they're trying to act sort of down all of a sudden, and they're not.
See, if you lived in LA, they would be taking you to like the Magic Johnson Starbucks, and they'd be taking you to get, you're going to Wingstop.
Yeah, they start talking to you about their one black friend. They really start playing up that one black guy they know.
Tyrone. Oh, you gotta meet Tyrone, man. We're so tight.
Yeah. And they start talking Ebonics to me, and I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand Ebonics, so I'm like, whoa. But they started thinking like that's the way to get to me, and I'm like,
right.
You're barking up the wrong
Yo, shorty,
tree,
let me
buddy.
holler at you for a second.
Right, but they sound crazy saying it. Those are the times when you really have to be like, okay, this is not just curiosity. This is just a curiosity instead of just a genuine attraction, and then they're trying to get to know you deeper for who you are.
Right.
Crazy in Love says, curiosity is cool. It's all in the approach. Approach one another just like you would someone of your own race. Treat them like a person. Ask questions, but don't be creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Or
Mike from Oz says,
those guys who say, "Can I touch your hair?" Yeah.
Mike says, I have a preference for being in a BWWM relationship, but I don't narrow it down or narrow it to a really specific type or look to date based on a stereotype.
Right. See, I think I have a type.
You think you have a type? I think you have a type too.
Yeah.
I think you have a type also.
But then see that's where like you have to understand and be confident in who you are, that you know that about yourself. Because honestly, sometimes I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but I've questioned. I'm like, wait a second, is this some sort of like creepy fetish out there?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've had that. Being 6 feet tall, I've had. Oh man, it'd be great to be with a tall girl. Like, oh yeah, tall girls are deep. That kind of crap.
Right.
Yeah.
That's past. That's so past curiosity. That's so past. Like, dude, you're a weirdo.
Right.
I've had that being short. I cannot tell you how many times I've had guys say, "Ooh, she's a flipper. I can get her into all sort of positions. She's so small." And that is gross. And I have had so many guys approach me like that, like, "Ooh, you're so tiny and sexy, and I can just flip you around, and ooh, girl, what I could do to you." It's dirty. It's nasty. It's creepy. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And how do they even know I'm that flexible? They don't. That's inappropriate.
Crazy in Love says, I can relate, Piper. Just be yourself. I'm not going to pretend to like Metallica just to get with a man.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Ruby Rouge. She said, Ebonics, game over.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I mean, and for anybody who's watching, you can, watch our past episodes. Maybe I think from 1 through 5 or 6-ish, 6-ish, where we, just talk about the different dating sites and just the different people that you will meet and the different stereotypes and questions that like might arise. Like white guys want to touch your hair and stuff. These are the clueless white guys. See, that's what I'm talking about, just the clueless. And if they're clueless and they're coming from a place of like, wow, I really want to know, and not just because, hey, that's what I see. Is that really your hair type of thing? But I really want to know what it feels like versus I want to know what fake hair feels like.
Yeah.
Can I touch it? Oh, how do you do that? And where do you, how do you put that in? And do you, how much, like, don't nobody feel like all that.
Right.
Like, if you genuinely just want to know, because I get all white ladies who genuinely just want to know.
Yeah.
About your hair. And then, and if I tell you, that should be the end of it. Let's not keep talking about it. What are we going to keep talking about?
I have a perfect example, and this is even outside of the dating world, but I had a woman ask me not too long ago, it was actually one of my caregivers in the hospital, and she said, oh, so do you braid your kids' hair all the time? And I'm like, I don't know how to braid. Like, but she thought because I was black, I must know how to braid. Like, that's a black thing, and this is stereotype, and it's things that it does boil into that whole fetish type of thing where people kind of have an idea set in their mind what black people are like. Like, they've seen one too many Spike Lee movies with people sitting on the porch steps braiding hair, so they think all black people braid hair. So they just assume that's how it works, that's just where I spend my Sundays doing, is sitting on a porch. I'm in the hood. Sitting on the stoop in the hood. Drive-bys going on the other side of the street, and I'm braiding some hair. That's not how it works, but that's what they think. They've seen it, and they look at, and they don't ever try to venture outside of that and learn about people individually.
Right.
Right. Yeah, individually. Right.
I think Mike made a good comment. He said, ever notice how it doesn't go the other way? It would be weird. It would weird me out if someone dated me and then tried to talk in an Aussie accent or use Australianisms.
Oh, to try to just get to know you.
No, like they started dating and then all of a sudden
conversation to just get an Aussie accent. You'd be like, who used to do that? Oh, Madonna. You're like, where the hell did she get this English accent from?
Yeah, her British accent that came out of nowhere.
Where'd she get this British accent from? Who else? Who's that other fool? Oh, Nicki Minaj too. Like, what the really?
Nicki Minaj does it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's great though is for like Mike about Australian, and especially if he's dating an American, the only thing that Americans know about Australian accents is "G'day, mate."
Yeah, exactly.
Put another shrimp on the barbie. That's all we know. So that's all that would come out in that conversation.
Crazy says, you know what? We have to stop being so defensive at the same time. When it's something new, then it's going to be some awkwardness, teachable moments. And that's what I said. Like, if it's genuine curiosity, it's a question, then yeah, it's like, Steve and I crack all the time. Oh, it's white people stuff, and it's just very, it's not coming from
the difference when it's a genuine curiosity versus somebody who's watched one too many movies or seen one too many newscasts or that type of stuff. You can genuinely tell when they because they'll approach you very shy or they'll be very honest and even just be like, hey, look, I've never dated anybody who was black or I've never been with anybody who's black. Is there something different about your hair? If they really approach it in a way that you can tell that they're just genuinely curious, that's one thing. But it's when they make assumptions or the whole, a lot of people think, oh, black women always have weaves, so they just assume you have one, even if you don't. And they're like, oh, so what's your real hair look like? I had that happen on several of my videos where people were like, what's your real hair like? I'm like, that is my real hair. I'm like, crap, now I don't know how I feel about that.
See, I don't know, though. I think Crazy in Love has a good statement because there's been times where I've been dating girls, like, in the past, I've been dating girls for a while, and I'll make a statement or something, and they get very defensive about it.
No, okay, but it depends on your statement. So when you remember your statement, then come back to us, and we'll talk about it then.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what did you say?
And a lot of that comes from the woman being uncomfortable with.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, or she's nervous too, and she she automatically gets offended, offended.
Defensive. Well, and like in that movie,
I'm tired, you guys. She gets defended. Oh God.
like that movie, Something New. You know how when Sanaa Lathan and that guy Simon Baker, whenever he says like he asks her, what is this? Is this a wig or something? And she gets so offended immediately. She hops off the bed and she's like, I thought you said you dated black women before. Yes, I have real hair. It's underneath it. She gets really offended. But it's because she doesn't want to have to explain herself to him.
Right.
And that comes from several things, whether it be racial or just the fact that women in general don't want to be questioned about, the things they do to have to, to look good or feel good about themselves. You don't want people picking them apart. And so you get kind of, you jump on defense real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that movie was a little extreme. Some stuff.
It was.
Really. Come on,
it was
but you make a valid point.
It was really outlandish in its examples and like the way that they did it. I mean, you'd think she'd never been around anybody white in her life, and that's just not possible.
My favorite part of the movie was when they were at was it a wedding or something?
The Magic Johnson Starbucks. That's what I'm saying.
She was having like an anxiety attack with her friends. And she's like, can you believe he brought that white woman here? The funny thing is I always think of Steve with that part. Like, it would be like, what? He brought a white woman? Like, I would be offended. That's the funniest part of the movie to me. Oh, my God. Tiffany Marie says, defended, laugh out loud. Girl, you already know. You are in the same time zone as me. I am tired. I'm like, wait, defended.
See, my favorite part of that movie was when she walked into the Magic Johnson Starbucks and she's like, what's up, brother?
Oh, that part was urgent.
Oh, yeah. She's like, oh, girl, you are wearing them dreads. I'm like, really? Really?
Trying to prove her blackness. That part was so funny.
And see, that's where I thought it was a little extreme, and I was annoyed.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. I actually thought that was a little bit overboard. I'm like, okay,
I thought that part was so funny.
But,
and you would think it's funny as a white man.
Yeah, as a white man on the other end of that.
Right, you would think it, and that's okay. But we know that it was a little extreme. I was offended.
You were defended.
Totally defended by that.
I was totally defended.
Exactly.
Wait, Crazy Love says, Kenya from Something New bangs head against the wall.
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly. I mean, they did it very extreme situations. I mean, she would have thought that white people were foreign to her, and that's just not even possible. I mean, it's just not even. But it was very extreme. But it does illustrate our point very well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got something. I got a question for you.
Yep.
So Danny.
Yes. Uh-oh.
If you were on a date and a woman asks you, and say she's in her mind calculating, she's like, I want to know if this is a fetish. If he's just wanting me because of my brown skin.
Right.
And she asks you. She hasn't asked you if you've been with other black women yet. The first thing she asks you is, what is it that you love about black women? I want to know, as well as our audience, and you can speak from a general place or you can speak from just your own, experience. What is it overall that you're feeling that you love or like about black women that makes you attracted to them? And what is that answer? What differentiates your true, genuine feeling from just objectification?
Dang, like Barbara Walters, that's like 4.
I know, right? I was like, that was good. I'm like, ooh, answer.
It's like, okay. What is your answer?
First of all, to your first question.
They want to know when they're out on a date and they ask this guy this, or this guy asks this girl this, what is it genuinely? And they have not asked have you dated the other ethnicity, race, whatever yet.
The the first thing right there is I wouldn't answer that question. I wouldn't answer the first part of the question, because the first part of the question is, what do you find attractive about black women? And so the first part of that question I wouldn't answer. I wouldn't answer it as, what do I like about black women? I would be specific about that person. I would say, what am I attracted to towards you? I'm attracted at this. I'm attracted about this. I'm attracted about this. And that's all specific on the person. Because I definitely wouldn't, like, that's almost like a trap. It's almost setting up for a trap, if that makes sense. Like, what do you find attractive about black women? Because any way you answer that, you're going to be able to say, well, that's a stereotype, or that's objectifying me, or any of that. So, like, it really has to be focused on the individual person. And then
Good
past
answer.
that,
Good answer.
past that, there was more on that, right?
We can go to the comments.
Okay, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
The comments are getting crazy.
Mike says, he's going back, well, I forgot you guys are in delay. He says, I like the movie more if it didn't have so many cringeworthy moments shoehorned into it. Yeah, we were all like, ugh. Ruby Rouge says, that's like people just assume you're the best dancer in the club. I really appreciate it. Appreciated when a white guy I went out with didn't assume I knew everything about Usher.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Crazy in Love says the question, what do you like about black women, is a setup question, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's how you get caught up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's a valid question because somebody's going to ask you that.
Right.
You know, somebody's going to ask you that.
Somebody has asked me that. Actually, many people have asked me that. I like what Crazy in Love says, though, because she says, have you guys noticed that sexual fetish is usually called into question when it's BWWM? I don't.
That's
see
exactly
it as
what I was just reading,
but
and
that's what we are. But that's because that's what we are. You know, that's what we can speak to, what we know, the community. It might be in, like, I feel like it might be in, like, Asian women, white men type of thing, too.
Right.
I'll give you that, but I do notice that it does come into play a lot more when it comes to white men and black women.
And why do you think
the
that
fetish question does come up a lot, because I think a lot of times people don't believe that a white man could be genuinely interested in a black woman, and so there always is that, okay, is this a fetish? Because some people don't believe that it could ever be genuine.
Oh, look at this. Mike from us says, crazy, Asian women, white men get it a lot too. There's an immediate assumption that it's because Asian women are submissive, petite, exotic, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
I just said the same thing. But, you know, we can't speak to that because we're not an Asian woman.
Yeah, because I'm not Asian woman.
And Danny's not a white man who dates Asian women. So he can't even speak to that.
But I definitely think I agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say, though, like, I think like media even portrays it at that, you know? Because, like, Dee, we were talking a couple weeks ago, and just recently, Chandra even did it with Scandal, you know, where she put that fetish into Fitz, you know, and caused him to, like, you know, when he's sitting with Papa Pope and he's like, I like the taste of your daughter. You know, like there's a media perpetration, I think, in there too, because I think that, and did I make up that word, perpetration?
Yeah, we're just making up words tonight.
It's a Swirl World Dictionary.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Perpetration, right next to defended.
That offended me. But
So,
yeah.
But yeah, and Crazy in Love is going in with this too. She says, for instance, Lupita Nyong'o.
Hey, look at that. This is, you know, Danny, sorry to cut you off, Danny. Danny's, you know, affinity towards African women. I wouldn't know how to pronounce her last name.
And Nyong'o?
Yeah, exactly.
Just how it looks.
I wouldn't either.
Nyong'o.
It doesn't look like that to me.
It's
right.
Easy. It's easy.
Okay.
So Lupita's not African. Lupita Nyong'o, she says, question if it was a fetish as opposed to actually being a desirable and beautiful.
I don't know. I just feel like, I think it was all over this extra. I just thought it was extra myself, period. Because, I mean, Viola Davis, she's just as black. Her hair is just as short, and it just wasn't, people weren't going nuts over her, or were they? Did I miss the memo? So I don't know. I kind of just ignored the whole Lupita thing. It was on my nerves, actually, to be quite honest with you.
The Lupita thing, though, was because all of a sudden she had really good PR. That's really what got it for her.
Okay.
And what got the thing going for her was because she had really good PR and she had really good stylists, and so she showed up everywhere and everybody was like, "Oh my God, that looks great on you," and that's what caused all this uproar about her,
Crazy! I wasn't being Judy. I just didn't. I was like, I didn't get it. What was the big hype? I mean, I didn't get it. Oh wait, side note, Piper. I don't know if you know this, but Shonda Rhimes has a new show coming out.
Oh no.
And it's called How to Get Away with Murder. And it's going to take the 10 o'clock slot. So Scandal's going to move up to 9. And this is going to take the 10 o'clock slot. And it stars Viola Davis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
I did not know. I've been out of the loop.
Yeah, check the Scandal page on Facebook, whatever, and it's on there. So speaking of Viola Davis, that's what just brought it to my mind. So, but I digress. So we can go back. You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it in the comments here. Mike Fermat says crazy, absolutely. Kate Blanchett never received the same questioning, though, in the reality of that word of celebrity.
Right.
Fetishization.
Right. Nobody.
Tiffany agrees with me. It was like, really, she's not attractive. Yes, yeah. I mean, she's attractive, but okay. She's got great teeth.
She's got great teeth.
I didn't get it. I just didn't get the big hype. I'm like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
She deserved it though.
You know what? Mike makes a good point. He says that it's celebrity fetishization.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's like, she got her, for lack of a better term, 15 minutes of fame, so to speak, on that, and then it's died out. Beyonce is taking back over.
Yeah.
No, Beyonce's sister is taking over.
Yeah, because she beat Jay-Z.
Now Jay-Z does have 100 problems.
Yeah, and a bitch is one.
Okay, but here's what.
Law is one. Crazy Enough says, yes, I am looking forward to the new Shonda Rhimes drama.
So Crazy before that, she said, well, with Hollywood, there can only be one black it woman at a time.
True.
This is true.
This is very true.
You know what I haven't heard, though? I have not heard people go, nuts over Kerry Washington. Like they were going over...
That's because she's...
No. I mean, I haven't heard them go nuts over her like they were going over Lupita, or Hallie or anything like that.
That's because
Tiffany Marie is crazy. She said teeth. That's it. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you, girl. I'm picking up what you're putting down. That's all I'm saying.
Wait, as far as what do you mean that you haven't heard of people go crazy over Kerry Washington? As far as her being like an it woman?
Right. Lupita was. She was all over. It was,
Kerry Washington is known for having kind of controversial roles anyway. So she doesn't get that same kind of hype because it's not anything new, really.
Okay.
And she's really private too. She doesn't put herself out there.
She's very private. She's always done a lot of controversial roles. Did you ever see that movie, She Hates Me or whatever, where she plays a lesbian in that? And
there's another one where she plays a transsexual. She plays a transsexual drug addict.
Yes, exactly. Her roles are always so sort of controversial and out there and so different
and
that
then
I
there's
think
people's.
there's not that hype on her because it's not anything new.
Oh my God. Crazy in Love says they used to go nuts over Kerry Washington. Her time's up. I must have missed that boat. It says she's small.
I didn't see it.
Fall out. I'm kidding. Oh God. I mean, yeah, I know she was thrown back into the, to the light or whatever with this new role Scandal, but I just didn't get I remember Hallie and then now Lupita, and I was like, well, what the hell happened in between? Who was
Paula Patton got some
Shade
height.
in between.
I don't want to talk about. I can't stand Paula Patton. I think she's funny looking. She was like Buck.
I am so happy you said that because I thought I was the only person that didn't like her.
I do not care for Paula Patton. I never have. I think she's odd looking. Like something with her mouth, her teeth. Like I can't focus on anything else when I look at her. It's kind of like Nick Cannon. I don't know, something with his mouth. I can't focus on anything else except for the mouth. It's odd.
Was she in Deja Vu with Denzel?
Huh?
What?
Was she the girl that was in? I know who she is, but was she in Deja Vu?
Yes, she plays the girl that, like, I guess his sort of love interest, or the girl that he goes and saves.
It's the only character. It's the only time I've ever liked her in a movie. Every other movie I've been like.
I don't like her upper arms. She kind of seems mannish to me. Every time she wears every time she wears something strapped, like sleeveless, I'm like, oh, put some sleeves on. You're too buff. It looks weird. You're like a dude. I can't stand it. I'm like, put a jacket on. Gosh.
So, do y'all ship Lupita with Jared Leto like the rest of the BWWM groupies?
It's not happening.
We are not groupies. Here's the thing. We are the real deal.
Didn't we explain that earlier?
You guys are nuts. You crack me up. You crack. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. We're like jumping all over the place, you guys. I swear we don't have this much ADD. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
That's what makes it great and spontaneous.
If Jared and her are a thing, that's cool. He says weird things, though. And then talking about, Jared is a little eccentric.
Yes, he is.
I don't even know who the hell it is. I mean, I saw the picture of them two together, but I'm like, those two together, but I'm like,
Jared Leto, he played, he was in that show, My So-Called Life. Did you ever watch that? With Claire Danes. And, he was in Fight Club.
Buyers Club.
Yeah, he's in tons of stuff, but he always plays sort of like these very crazy sorts of roles. Kind of like Johnny Depp.
The same picture that they took of Jared. The same picture that they took of him and Lupita, that same night they took a picture of him and Taylor Swift and said the exact same thing about them. So they're basically just taking pictures of him with women and saying, oh, look, they're together.
Yeah.
Well, then you should put my picture with him and say that we're together. I would like that. I want to be associated like that with Jared Leto. I think he's cute.
I don't really care for Paula Patton. She can't act. I have pity for her. Miley twerked her man. Oh my God. And then Dan Piper went in on Paula's arms.
I'm sorry, but has anybody... I bet the next time you see a picture of her, you'll notice it, and you'll be like, she was right.
So I'll be able to look at it.
You won't be able to look at her without seeing her big old man upper arms.
The mouth and the arms. That's all I'm going to be seeing from now.
She's just big. She's like broad-shouldered and big. I just don't... She just doesn't do it for me. She doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, she doesn't do it for me either. I can't with that mouth. Like, it's not with her teeth, and I'm just like, I can't focus on what she's saying. I can't. I just don't think she's one biracial chick who is not attractive to me. Not saying that, you know, but we're with the stereotypes of, oh yes, all mixed babies are beautiful. No,
not true.
No.
She defies the stereotype.
Absolutely.
She breaks that. With her big old shoulders, she just comes knocking down the door of the stereotype with her big old broad shoulders and man arms. Oh, I don't understand. Oh, you should, next, I swear, look up the picture of her standing next to Robin Thicke, and they look so crazy. She's in this gown, but it's like no sleeves, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, she looks like she could put him in a chokehold. Just like, get him in a full Nelson, just like, get him. Very unattractive.
I'm like almost in tears here. Kind of like the Dick conversation, the Richard conversation.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that was hilarious. All right,
I'm totally Googling it now.
Yeah,
She's got a weird. Ooh, this one's great. Okay, I gotta share this one with everyone. This picture with everyone, because this I think just extend like yeah. Let me get that.
Is it arms? Arms.
It's arms and mouth. Yeah.
Oh no,
Okay,
the trifecta.
Okay, check this out. Check this out. Look at that.
Oh.
Look at those arms. That's great.
Look at she's broad-shouldered. I mean, she just looks like she could be a linebacker.
Yeah, I'm looking for the one though that you were telling me that you were talking about, Piper. Oh, look at this one. This one's great. Look at those shoulders. And the mouth, it just doesn't fit the chin right.
I mean, and just so everybody knows, we're not saying beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I just happen to be someone that doesn't behold her as beautiful. However, some people do, and I don't hate you for it, but I don't like linebacker-like women. It's weird, awkward looking, and she has it. That's all I'm saying.
So
I'm sure there's awkward things
more
about
like
me.
the wide receiver type women then?
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, I think I can appreciate attractiveness in everybody, no matter what their sex. I can say another woman's attractive. I can say somebody's attractive. She just is not attractive to me. I can't understand why anybody would want to be with her unless you might need a door broken into or something, and you need her to ram the door. Then she's the perfect person for that, and that matters. I mean, if that's what matters to you, then it works.
Crazy says, look, Piper, us large-armed women can't help our big-ass arms.
Hey, Crazy doesn't have no big-ass arms like Paula Patton, so I've seen her. She's adorable. So, boom.
Hey, can I
big arms? Because I've got big arms. So having big arms versus these broad shoulders are two different things.
Yeah, because she's got the big arms and the broad shoulders. I mean, it's like she's always wearing shoulder pads or something.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, this they just cast her as She-Hulk.
That would make sense.
I'm playing.
I could see that. They should do it. If that happens, it's because we said it first.
Yeah.
That should be something that happens.
Oh, you guys are nuts.
Can I throw something out there? Like, this is just like some YouTube stuff. Some YouTube, like, I don't know what that was.
Did you just
some
fire
YouTube
a gun?
thing. I am in the hood right now, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, no. It could have been a gunshot.
It literally could have. No, okay. With this whole preference and attraction and fetish and curiosity and all this stuff, like I have seen some YouTube videos and some guys, and they get like, some guys know, like if you put BWWM in a title and you're a white guy, you're gonna get views.
Right.
And like there's women that like fling themselves on these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to say, like, can we please stop with that? Like, Dee, was it you that found that guy recently that we were talking about?
Oh, God, yeah. And it was like, seriously?
Black dude 88.
Yeah. If you read through his comments, you know, it's very evident he has never been with a black woman.
He even says it in one of his videos. He's never been with a black woman, but like he has 3 or 4 videos about how he's only going to date black women. And it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how much attention he gets from black women that want to be with a white man on his videos.
And that's just desperate, and it's just dry.
Yeah.
Parched,
It's those desperate women. It's those thirsty ladies who are like, oh, hey, and they don't care what he looks like, what kind of person he is, what his motives are. They just are like, ooh, he said he wants to be with black women. Sign me up.
And that's so beyond curiosity. It's so him. It's bucket list borderline fetish.
Fetish, yeah.
Gratification. And the women are just like so thirsty and commenting, and I'm just like, are you serious? Like, it's very evident that he has no experience. He's just out here because he figures he could probably pull one. There's several people like that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. We know a guy. We know a guy that was going to be on. That was going to co-host on one of our episodes, and it never worked out.
Thank God he didn't.
It never worked out. But this guy gives has a tutorial video on how to approach black women. Come to find out, he's never dated black women.
Never dated, but he knows that's where he can get the views because, as Crazy in Love just said, some of these YouTube videos are just, the thirst is real in YouTube land. It really is.
It sure is.
Social media. And those are the groupies. Those are the ones who are so thirsty just to be, and they're objectifying white men.
Right.
Yeah, they are.
And so, as we mentioned earlier, it definitely goes both ways.
Yeah, because they're just looking for any white guy, and they just happen to be looking at a white guy who's looking for any black woman.
Yes, and again, let's go back to our Twitter and how some of these young girls are like, if you read their profiles or whatever, they're like, yeah, I love white men. Like, really? Like, you just, the way that they're presenting themselves, it's like, it's Parch City here.
The moment,
right.
I guess, probably the best way, that's the best way to really sum it up is the moment somebody says, I love white men, that's when you know they're fetishizing the whole situation. Or a white guy says, I love black women, that's a fetish. Because you don't know all black women. Not all black, you can't love all black women. I date white men, but I don't love all white men, and I don't date all white men. And you have to have some qualifications for me to date you. It's not just being white that gets you in the door. So, I mean, but that's the difference between the preference and the fetish. The moment somebody puts the whole umbrella and says, I love black women, I love white men, that's when you go, okay, that's a fetish.
Well, and there's something really creepy with people because their online persona doesn't match their offline persona.
True.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there was Crazy in Love's mentioning it in the comments. She says, I didn't like that other guy y'all got on the show, the 19-year-old no man. There's a certain guy I'm thinking of that his Twitter is blown up, and then you start talking to the guy, and you realize he's absolutely nothing like his Twitter presents him to be.
People do a lot for, people,
well, they do it.
People do a lot for their YouTube.
They do, because, I mean, the moment you search BWWM, a lot of guys use that as like a tag to draw women to them. And they're looking for those extremely desperate women who are like, I'll go for any white guy. I don't have any preference, just any white guy will do. And that's they're just totally, that's what they're looking for. They're trying to reel in that. They're going for quantity.
Yep.
And
then they make vlogs about it.
Yes. And then they blog about it and all their black women excursions. And it's just weird to me. And I've seen it a lot on YouTube, a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Crazy in Love hashtags all of what I'm about to say. BWWM, I love white guys. Please pay attention to me. White guys, please stop.
And then her actual
really
hashtag is
if
please stop.
you guys look at some of our followers, and for our followers who do, and I don't even think the majority of our followers actually even watch our show, and they're just thinking that it's kind of like a hookup game is what I think anyway.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. Because they hear it and they think, oh, it's all about hooking up people, and they think it's.
And that's not the audience that we are really catering to. We're not really catering to the young people. We are 30-something. We are in the real world. We're all looking to settle down, settle in, whatever. And that's kind of where we were going with that. We're not about that. It was just hook up life and just be thirsty all the damn time, because no. And we want these young girls and young men who are watching, have some dignity, have some standards. No, go out. How about that? Start there. Go out and meet people.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And stop, lapdogging over here on freaking YouTube.
But that's the thing. That's the thing is you get
Cottonmouth thirst. Stay out over for this joint.
Yeah, you get thirsty girls that go out and then continue on this cycle of men that will use them as to fulfill their fetish.
Their dirty fantasies.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the girl that's thirsty wises up and goes, wait a second, I don't want this, and then gets all bitter towards it and turns it on anybody else that wants to date interracially.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's very true.
Ruby Rouge says, haha, Parch City done what you did. Yes, girl. Parch City, I mean Cottonmouth dry. Thirst. It is real. That's the thing, she continues to say. People just assume when I say I have a preference for white men, they think that you'll take any old dude.
That's what I said in my video. Well, the moment I say I like white guys, people just throw all their leftovers at me. I'm like, wait, I didn't mean any white guy will do. I'm like, that's gross. There are some people that I do not want in this part of my world. Like, ugh.
Okay,
but they do. They'll introduce me to anybody. They'll be like, oh, here's this guy. He's 300 pounds. Slobbers when he talks, and picks his nose also and eats it. And he's white, so you must like him. No.
I gotta show you this picture because this is so funny that this is coming up. This is a text my brother sent me this weekend. Can you see that?
What does it say?
It says Miss Oregon 2014, right? And he's like, look, dude, we have black women in Oregon. Please come home.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
That is awesome.
That's so funny. My dad will call me, too. He'll say, actually, before I was dating my girlfriend, he would call me and he'd go, I just met this really nice black lady. Maybe you should come back home. I can introduce you guys.
Oh, my gosh.
That is so funny. But it's so true, though. When people think you have a preference, they confuse it with the fetish. And they'll be like, oh, you must just like everybody. Like, that's just how you roll. Like, that's gross. There are a lot of nasty people. I don't care what color their skin is. They're nasty.
Yeah.
And not everybody is made to ride this ride. So,
right,
I mean, the rules remain, don't be thirsty, and what we mean by thirsty, that's a generalization, but don't be thirsty, meaning don't be desperate. Don't put it all in your profile that you love white guys. It just seems like you're looking to hook up. And if you want something real and genuine, like, just take it slow and start from there, and be aware.
Yeah.
Be aware, and sometimes you have to really just read between the lines, and you might have to ask those tricky questions to see what the response is going to be. But that's how you'll know. And you may have to go through a few bad apples, a few Malibu's most wanted to get to the person who's genuinely into you.
Right.
I was very attracted to B-Rad, by the way. I like this hood.
You know what? There's a. Can I read one other quote on here?
Sure.
From one of the things that we looked up, one of the blogs we had. It says, "My wife and I always get excited when we see an interracial couple our direction, meaning white male, black female." He says, "Well, one thing that has always been hard for me to deal with is the fact that people constantly question the intention of our relationship. Black girls are not my fetish. My wife is quite simply the love of my life." And like that's the thing is, like, I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm walking around and I made the mistake. I had this young guy. I was trying to help him out, and he was living with me for a while. And he actually was on my computer one day and started watching our episodes. And so all of a sudden, this dude would, like, every time he saw a black woman and a white man, he would yell out to me, "Danny, look, another swirl! Yeah, swirl, go swirl!" It was extremely embarrassing. But you know what? I started. He was like, "Yeah." He's stupid 18-year-old kid. Yeah! He's running over, giving the guy a high five. And
You're like, no! No!
no, well, what's funny is his parents are black man, white woman, right? So, anyways, the thing that about that I realized though is like I realize like when I see a couple that has my same like what does he say? He says my same direction around. I actually do perk up a little bit.
Oh
right?
yeah, I think that's normal.
I do kind of like I'm like yeah, all right. Like I'll do the whole like smile and nod, you know, or something like that if it's the right timing or whatever. I remember Piper one time. Piper, one time you said you were going to start taking all the pictures of all the interracial couples at your church and post.
Because there's so many, and it's not, I think, but that's why we do, it's a Swirl World. That's a perfect example. That's why we do it, because it's not that we think of it as a fetish, and it's not that it's because it's
not
so,
taboo.
It's not taboo, and that's what we want to break down. When we see it, it's like, yes, finally it's becoming more of the norm, or at least more accepted, because it's been such a taboo, and people want to feel like they're not abnormal and they're not freaks, and that there are other people out there like them and in relationships like theirs, and it's nice to see.
Right.
You know, so that's why I get excited.
I think that's one of the things that continues on this cycle of a fetish is if you're with someone or you're dating somebody and they're acting as if it's a taboo, if it's not something normal for them, then obviously it's something that's going to raise that question of fetish. And like if we if people keep continuing to make it a taboo, it's going to be a taboo.
Yeah, it's like we have to break down that whole thing, that whole stereotype that's why a white man, that's the only reason a white man would be with a black woman is because, you know, whatever number of stereotypes you want to list, because he thinks she's good in bed.
We're the ones that got everybody married. We're the ones that changed the law to make us to let us get people married. That's us. That's BWWM right there.
It's just unfortunate that's what it's like, but I think that it does need to be put out there. That's why we do the show. That's why we have, you know, that's why I have, you know, my channel anyway. That's why I try to celebrate those types of relationships, because I think that the more you see it, the less it'll be something that people choose to invalidate because they think, oh, it couldn't be genuine, it couldn't be love, there must be some underlying issue there, she must be great in bed or whatever.
Right.
She has no gag reflex, whatever.
Let's go over to the comments. JJ John. Hi, JJ John. Sounds new to us. What do you think, Danny? I think he or she is new. Welcome. It's a community. It's a nice feeling like there are others out there, others who won't judge because they are too in an interracial relationship. Crazy and Love says, I agree, Piper. My boyfriend and I love seeing other couples that look like us where community representation is important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike from says, thing of it is, no one who is in the same race relations never get anything like this because it's seen as the appropriate standard for society. If you stray from that, then you're suddenly questioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Because nobody questions, if you date a black man and you're a black woman, nobody questions why you date black men. Right. They just assume that's just what you're supposed to do. But they only question it at the moment you step outside of it. Then it's like, well, why do you do that? That's so abnormal. You must have a glitch. There must be a glitch in the matrix. Oh, no. That's usually what people go to the moment you step outside of what they consider to be the norm.
Yeah.
Right. We've also found a few other YouTubers.
Yeah.
Who are new to the scene. So if you guys want to see another kind of our favorite YouTubers update, let us know.
Or we should call it the new YouTubers.
The new YouTubers, right? Just to just know, guys, that we are very selective in who we choose to feature on our show.
Sometimes we regret putting people on our show.
And okay, if we've given you 30, we kind of only regret maybe, 3 or 4?
Yeah.
I definitely regret one.
I definitely regret one.
But you figure that's a small percentage considering what we have, what we do like, and who we do like, and regretting. And if you guys are talking about the same one that I said no from the beginning, so I was right about that.
No. I'm regretting. I'm regretting just because their vlogs are lame.
Oh no. Or regretting because
You know
they
who I'm
don't
talking
offer
about.
vlog, which sucks.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about who is more dangerous. You guys are watching, so yes, I'm throwing the shade over your way.
Yeah, they haven't put on a new video. They haven't done a new video since we featured them.
Made us look bad. But yeah, if you guys want to see who else we've come up with, let us know in the comments, thumbs up, and all that other good stuff. And we will bring them forth to you because I can think of, 2 or 3 offhand that I really enjoy, and they're fairly new.
Yeah.
Crazy Love says, which one do you guys regret? I'm being newsy.
I don't want to say it because they actually watch our videos, so.
I know. I'm trying to think. Well, you guys probably know one I really regret that I never wanted to be featured. That you guys featured.
I think who?
And I was adamant about it. I was adamant about not featuring them.
Wait, who? You gotta put it in the chat. Can you talk around it?
You know who it is.
I remember the conversation, but I don't remember the couple.
You do. You remember the couple, and you guys were like, "Oh, but we gotta put them in there." And I'm like, "No, I'd rather watch paint dry than watch those vlogs." And
oh my God! I swear, I'm having a brain fart right now.
Me too. Me too, Piper. I remember the conversation too. I remember you saying, "We're adding Levine life then." Oh, that's right.
Yes. See, and I was like, "No, I don't want that. No, no." I was like, "No hard pass. No hard pass."
I know, yeah.
And you guys were like, "Oh yes, they have."
Hey, I was awful.
I'm giving a hint right now. I'm just giving a hint.
Yeah. Mike says, Danny, they'll leave bad messages for you again. It's true. Some of the people you featured,
no.
To their name, spill the beans. You guys are Judy. All y'all want is some tea. That's all y'all want. Y'all want us to throw. Okay, but again, guys, we didn't say we were 100% accurate, right? We had room for a little bit of error, but we think we did good. We think, we've turned you guys on to some people that are really cool. It's not our fault some people just fell off the face of the earth. We can't help it.
Yeah.
No, just so you guys know, I'm not talking about Knives Knowles, just so everybody knows. I'm not talking about Knives Knowles.
Well, we didn't feature them, so stop.
We never featured them.
It's not Knives Knowles. Just so everybody knows, because the comments are going crazy. They'll leave bad messages for you again, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not that. It's not that. Trust me.
Them.
It's not them. Car vlogs. That's all I have to say. Car vlogs.
Yeah. The world is horrible. Everybody's horrible. It's like after those vlogs, you want to give up and kill yourself. Just end it all. Just like the world's horrible. Just continue to vlog and only 2 people watch them. Go ahead. And we just go ahead and put them out there, and everybody probably thought, why would they ever promote such a couple?
I'm going to do a video every day in April.
Okay, seriously, guys, like there wasn't. We apologize. We did.
Crazy Love said on Facebook, don't nobody go there.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, that's right. We can put all the lists. We can put our oops list on Facebook. Nobody will read
true.
it.
Nobody reads that.
No.
Nobody reads that.
There are some people, who we still stand behind and we back. There are some people who we still love, but they're just not making videos anymore. Yeah, Duty, we haven't heard from them. Maybe you guys know they're like my favorite couple. So shout out to them. We hope they come back. There are some people who we've run across who have you know, actually gotten offended because we did not put them on the
Yeah.
list.
People do not like when you don't add them to a list
And
of
it's
people
like,
you like.
really, with your ratchet ass? No, son, we ain't having no. You
Like,
shan't
sorry, you
tarnish
didn't
our good
us.
name.
Yeah. Though I
So,
think it's
yeah.
funny. It's like, why would you want us to rep you if we don't really like you? That's false advertising.
Yeah, we didn't even watch you, son. Like, come on.
Like, we're not even trying to watch your vlogs. I know where they are. That's horrible. But yeah, there are people who get very offended, even though they don't even watch us, but they magically watch that one episode where we don't name them, and they get crazy.
Mhm.
They
And
want
some
to
of
talk us down to It's a Swirl World. How dare we?
If you guys are based on love.
Yeah. Like, we are based on love, but you're boring.
All right, you guys, we have rambled on enough. This has been a great show. Good way to come back. We'll go away and then we'll come back and have like a bomb show. And this is
Yeah.
definitely falling into that category. We're super stoked to have Piper back. Our faceless Piper.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Better her voice than nothing at all. Thanks again for all your well wishes. Let us know below what you guys want to see, what you guys want to talk about. We always say that and no one responds on Facebook.
I know. They never say anything. They never say anything on Facebook.
Actually, you know what? No, Mike gave us some suggestions. Mike did give us some suggestions our last episode. So
Okay.
yeah, remember he either emailed us or he might have hit us up on Facebook with it.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to check into those.
Definitely will. And we'll all see you guys next time. We hope you have a great rest of the week. Good weekend. And we will see you soon.
Bye. Peace,
out.
love, and hair grease.